I can't be affected by mold illness. My home is new and it couldn't be water damaged. Not so fast. I'm Dr. Lauren Sparks. I'm a doctorally prepared nurse practitioner. I'm also a therapist. I've walked through the fire of erythromelalgia as well as chronic inflammatory response syndrome. I'm here to tell you I have hope for your healing, lots of it. So it is frustrating to learn this, but even newly built structures can be water damaged. Of course, we think the safest structures for people with chronic inflammatory response syndrome can often be newer structures, but we always want to test. We do not want to make assumptions when it comes to our health. The HERTSMI test is the most evidence-based way to tell if a building is safe enough for you. And this goes for testing a home environment, a work environment, or a school environment. If you have a diagnosis of chronic inflammatory response syndrome, we want to make sure that you are living, working, or going to school in environments that have HERTSMI testing of 10 or less. What is evidence-based is that in only 1.7% of cases, this level of 10 or less will not be low enough. And so it's highly likely, like over a 98% chance, 98.3% chance, that if you find a home with a HERTSMI of 10 or less, this will be safe enough for you. We know there is no environment that is free of mold. Many CIRS critics assert no environment is free of mold. Yeah, duh. And we're just looking for a safe enough environment. HERTSMI is something I have here that you can pretty easily read yourself. We're looking for something with a total score of 10 or less. The closer you're getting to 0, the better. ERMI is a more complicated test. It does have its place, and it does include a HERTSMI within the ERMI. But it does require someone who is trained in interpreting it. And what I would encourage you to initially do is complete a HERTSMI of your home. So that will give us some sort of baseline. And then if we find an elevation there, you'll often see an indoor environmental professional. I am a medical provider who's trained by Dr. Shoemaker to get a person well if they have chronic inflammatory response syndrome. We also have indoor environmental professionals. They're building specialists who are trained to get the building environment well. And they can break down something that's much more complicated, like an ERMI, and look at specific molds and make guesses about where the problem is within a structure. When I think about HERTSMI testing a home, I always would like to see at least one HERTSMI test of each level of the home, meaning if you have a basement, I want that to be a different HERTSMI test than the first floor of the home. And if you have a second floor, I also want that to be a different test if possible. This will give us the most accurate results and can help us narrow down if there is a problem and where that problem is coming from. I would encourage you not to skip testing. If you skip testing, you can remain in exposure, you can miss your root cause, and this can cause the disease process to go on and on. Step 1 of Dr. Shoemaker's protocol is removal from exposure. And we want to make sure that we get that first step right, because if we aren't getting that first step right, we cannot get you well. We have to have a person in a safe enough environment so that the binder can do its work and so that we can fully work the Shoemaker protocol. I would encourage you to visit the link below to Lis Biotech. They are a testing company that I really trust. I recently moved into a new home and invested quite a bit in testing from Lis Biotech to make sure the home was safe enough for me. I find them to be really responsive. I find their results to be accurate. So we will link below where you can simply click and get a HERTSMI from Lis Biotech so that you can test your environment. You do not have to have a doctor's order to order this test from Lis Biotech. It's a very simple test to complete yourself. It comes with instructions. They send you what looks like a Swiffer cloth, and you actually take samplings from your own home in the way that the instructions educate you to do. It's very, very, very simple. And it is the most evidence-based way to see if a home is safe enough, even a new home. I encourage people, if you are looking at renting, to always do an initial HERTSMI of that rental property to see if that environment is going to be a safe enough place for your healing process. So again, you can click below, you can order a HERTSMI. They generally run around less than $150, and you can test your environment. If you see a score greater than 10, then that would be concerning, especially if you have a diagnosis of chronic inflammatory response syndrome. And at that point, I would encourage you to talk to your provider, to engage the help of an indoor environmental professional that is educated in chronic inflammatory response syndrome. What I would not encourage you to do is run out and find a remediator. You do not want to engage any Joe Schmo off the street as far as a remediator to go looking for mold. I talk more about why you do not want to do that in this next video, step 1 of the Shoemaker protocol. So check that out. I want you to avoid all of the mistakes that I made along the way. And engaging a remediator before you have worked with an IEP is really something that can be quite costly. Please avoid that mistake. If you're benefiting from this channel, please like and subscribe. If you have a question for me, please post that in the comments below. Until next time, take good care, be sure to test, don't guess, and hold on to hope.